Hello again everyone, Melth here, with more of my Baldur's Gate 3 challenge run. Last time we slew Raphael, and we are really burning through these Act 3 bosses pretty fast. This time, for episode 100 of this series, I'm going to fight Ascended Cazador. So I'll let Cazador kill off Astarion, and then fight him fresh like that with a 3-man party. Should be pretty fun. After that, I'll then reload and fight him the normal way, basically. As always, watch out for spoilers throughout this run. Well, before we can get to Cazador, we'd first better deal with Helsik. And I mean, we could keep to the deal and just give her the gauntlets, but she's a devil-worshipping loose end, so I think instead we'll just kill her. She's a pretty fun fight too, arguably harder than Raphael actually. Let's get, say, Karlach over there, and Astarion crowded in. We'll be doing a speed potion later on, I think. But yeah, for now, we'll just fly on down and have a quick chat here.
Trips to the Hells are usually one way, especially when the traveler causes the kind of trouble you did. I knew you were a thief, didn't realize you were a killer.
Speaking of...
Raphael's death is already causing quite a stir across the Hells.
She'll summon up a whole bunch of quite powerful devils. Like, implausibly powerful given that they're just imps with gold on them, apparently. They've got massive hit points because of the gold plating, and can still fly somehow. And also, due to her aura, their damage is through the roof. Which is pretty interesting, I want to say, actually. See, the funny thing is, if she's at 100 approval with you, she counts as your ally. And you'll have the infectious greed aura if you're anywhere near her, giving plus 6d6 damage. Now, of course, given that she's just kind of in a shop over here, that doesn't matter very much normally, but you could do things like, say, pick her up with improvised weapon and carry her around for an insanely good piercing damage aura boost for anyone who gives her enough money to be at 100 approval. Of course, that's kind of exploit I wouldn't be doing in this run. So, let's get up there and get powered up with a speed potion. Alright, so the devils are very, very sturdy, and we have 2 of them up here actually threatening us currently. Or they would be threatening, except that these ones up here are using ranged weapons, so no literal threatening currently. But they are a bit of a problem and are splitting up our initiative a bit, I think. Well, while these guys are in Aura of Murder, is probably the best time to take some shots at them with the skeletons that don't have better things to do, I think. Needed to go a little higher up to actually get high ground, but here we are.
Well, so much for peace.
Might be able to get out a Circle of Death over here and hit a decent number of targets. Want to make sure I don't hit a bunch of my own guys upstairs, though. Yeah, not bad. Woodwoad got a hit. How nice. Okay, killed that one I was trying to set up for Karlach.
Survival is all that matters. What?
Alright, well, let us Ice Blast some guys, I think. Could have applied wet status to them. I don't know if it was really worth the trouble, so I didn't bother with it. Maybe it would have been worth the trouble with that kind of luck. Okay, severely injured that guy. So now, Karlach, what kind of cantrips do you have that you can get the kill with? They're immune to fire, they resist frost. You could do that 90% to hit, that's not bad. There we go, that gives you back your life essence, is what we're really going for there.
Knees high.
I guess just run down, you might as well, fire blast Helsik behind the counter for a bit of damage.
Where do I go from?
Okay, well, let's get Minthara in on things with her Aura of Murder, I think.
I seek an advantage.
And have Astarion maybe loose an arrow of many targets or 2 to start things off. That's pretty good. He should get a kill and do another one. Yeah, that gives him his further power-ups. Maybe we will give you a Hex as one of the sturdiest guys left. Nah, Helsik's the sturdiest. Okay. Helsik, you get a Hex. She actually survived. Okay, that's fine. In that case, you get double blast, and Helsik, you get 1/3 and final blast. Critical missed? Nah. Okay, that's fine. A lot of critical misses. There we go. Okay, well, we can fire off, probably an offhand shot will suffice to bring you down, given that you're an aura of murder. And then we can have Menthara take a stroll around the room, applying murder aura to various passerby. Or people that she passes by, I should say. So many critical misses. Alright, that should get the finisher. Not bad. Despite being gilded and so forth, these guys have no gold on them as far as I can tell. Little silly, but it's still a fun encounter for sure. Way stronger than one would expect a shopkeeper to be. I probably worked harder on that than in the fight against Raphael, I think.
What's hiding here?
Anyway, loose end cleaned up. Let's loot her stuff and then go over to Cazador's house, which is almost right next door, conveniently enough. Yeah, Misty Step's a fine thing. I guess we do a lot of free circles of death, so we don't really care about the scrolls of it, but it might have some utility. And then I don't really use sorcery, so that doesn't matter for me. And these gloves, if they worked more than like once per short rest, would be worth something. Get another beam out of them, but because they're once per short rest, they're no good for me. So, yeah, probably won't be using those. Alright. So, we've dealt with Mammon's little warlock over there. I think this is where we'll find the path up to the wall where Cazador is waiting, right? Oh, this cat here thinks that it's some kind of noir character type guy.
Baldur's Gate, where the people begged for justice until they starved.
I do like the different personalities they gave to animals in this game, as I've mentioned.
Their eyes met. Destiny was calling. Destiny is a fickle mistress. She shall
If you're too enthusiastic, the cat will say never mind, basically.
gutter the next. But today, she smiles. This could be the beginning of something. Two heroes against the world, enacting justice for those unable to seek their own. All the Tall One had to do was say yes.
And that's a lie.
The Tall One had passed the first test. The second would come when they were ready. And not before. When would they be ready? Only the Tall One and Fate truly knew.
Alright, let's go off and deal with Cazador. It was somewhere around here. For some reason, access to his mansion is via one of the city walls, which I know he has kind of corrupt control of some of the watchmen, but still strikes me as a little bit odd that you want to have the police headquarters be part of your foyer or whatever. Alright, so in we go.
The security shouldn't be too tight. A few charm innocents.
We'll go up and deal with those charmed people in the way that we usually deal with problems. You can break their charm if you have spells for that, but we'll just bulldoze them, I think.
This is the palace of Cazador Zar. Entry is forbidden. Leave now, citizen.
The guard's words are clear, but spoken without thought or intent. Behind her eyes, you see nothing.
The other people we'll find in Cazador's house don't seem to have this charmed effect. Not sure why not.
Blasphemy against the Master. Blasphemy!
Alright, well, this will be a difficult fight. We have these 5 HP giant rats to deal with, you know? So that should be a guaranteed Bloodlust activation. I'm getting a lot of critical misses today, aren't I? Good enough. Astarion, are you close enough to the ladder to get to it? No? That random skeleton's first? Fine, up you go. Climb faster, skeleton.
Let's have some fun.
Oh, you were really wedged in there. Okay, we'll waste a bonus action on a jump, and up we go. Do I want to bother throwing out a... Wait, don't give me that. You are not even blocked. Whatever, I'll still waste another jump. There's no great challenge to this fight here. We'll just bring up Aura of Murder and probably shoot them down with one arrow of many targets or something. The Aura of Murder.
Let's turn someone inside out.
And now the rats, or snacks as Astarion used to call them.
Wretched thing.
Okay. So then up here we go into the upper wall area where Cazador's house is. I think there are instructions here for the servants or whatever. Don't remember there being anything too interesting about it though.
Wonder what's past this.
The ladder will be keeping us for a while here, so I might as well pick locks while my summons are going up at 1 by 1. Hyena ear, sure, we're glad to have that. We'll find Chamberlain DeFay later. The outside of the palace is nice enough. The inside will have a much uglier decor. I think those will just unlock when Astarion gets near, yeah. Suspiciously welcoming, and we'll just blunder into the obvious trap. If you are smart and do not bring Astarion here at all, Cazador is just a chump and dies effortlessly. He can't do his ritual, he can't do anything. You have to really ignore a lot of warning signs to bring Astarion here and then have any challenge as a result.
I should speak up.
Alright, so she's one of the servants, seemingly, but no charm effect. Some of them seem more obviously mind-controlled than other ones. Some ugly paintings on the wall around different places. This one's kind of weird. I think that they call it the Lay of Lorethion. Corellin Lorethion is the name of the elf creator god, not originally from this setting as I recollect. The title of the Lay of Lorethion might also be a reference to the Lay of Lethian, who was an elf in Lord of the Rings, and that was, I think, one of the stories in the Silmarillion. Anyway, this is a cool empty mansion type thing. If it was full of encounters and traps, it'd be awesome, but it's not. It is empty and therefore kind of bland. So we'll just bulldoze it fast here. Like a lot of Act 3 areas, there's a great deal of like ominous tension build up, and then there's just kind of nothing in it. Alright, so here is Chamberlain DeFay. He's dead. Dump him on the ground. He's dead because he somehow drank an acid potion that he confused for his potion of feigning death. Back here, we can find where DeFay's lover apparently was, and also blunderously killed herself with the same acid potion somehow or other. Kind of like Romeo and Juliet, or maybe more so like Mark Antony and Cleopatra's bungled suicides, because both of them were just awful murderous people in this case.
Whatever killed this werewolf burned.
Here is an interesting cursed door. We'll have Minthara deal with this, I think, because she has a lot of temporary hit points that are easily restored in massive quantities.
Let's not get too close.
There are ways you can skirt around the necrotic aura. That's kind of like Gale's necrotic aura of Victoria the Child there. But I think it'll be faster to just like bulldoze in and do remove curse on it.
I can soothe your pain. Necrotic energy. Saps the life from me.
Okay, so that deals with that problem.
Still breathing.
Victoria was a child who was not a vampire, was being kept around by Cazador, presumably for some sinister purpose, though I'm not 100% sure what it was, and then was stupidly killed by Deliria the vampire, who thought that drinking a child's blood would somehow cure vampirism, which doesn't even make sense. Now, Deliria, of course, was forbidden to do such things because that's drinking the blood of an intelligent creature, which Cazador explicitly forbade. And this is one of many, 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 many times the game just can't keep straight whether or not the vampires can disobey Cazador's commands. This item is really, really good. So, if you're below 50% hit points, you get an additional bonus action, which for Astarion is an extra shot. So that is well worth giving up his current hat of boosting attack rolls and so forth.
Done.
Ballista has always wanted to do this. Alright, you can now put on the Helmet of Grit, so let's do that. Alright, I think this is the kennel area where Godi is waiting. He's waiting here to beat Astarion for his disobedience, but we'll just blow him up. Alright, not much of a fight, just one skeleton. He has this ring, which is what we needed here. And then I think that's about all there really is around here. Again, it's very, very empty. Okay, so we'll use the ring to open this door.
It's covered in intricate text, but you can't see anywhere a key might fit. Only a small... Looking closer, you recognize the writing. It's the same Kozakuran script from the dictionary you found.
So we have the two things we need to go in, and we can therefore go and confront the werewolves inside that murdered all the party guests.
It's open.
Alright, in we go.
You can't be here.
There's one talking about alpha wolves, which is not a real thing.
Out.
It's a very common, like, cliche that there are alpha wolves, but that's just not the way wolf packs actually operate.
Witnesses.
Alright.
Fresh orders?
Karlak. Why are you blocked? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Just jump in. Then we've got these bats and rats, which are not much of a threat, but the nice thing about them is that if we get a kill on one of them with something like a Circle of Death fired off for free, that will guarantee trigger Bloodlust, which will then be helpful to Karlak for getting back her action. And then she can get another kill with a spell on, say, that bat over there, and thereby get back life essence. Okay, so that was convenient there.
My victims.
Minthara. Stand over there. Astarion. Yeah, let's have a look at the werewolves before we kill all of them, I guess. So, werewolves. They're immune to damage, except that that doesn't apply to magical damage. They have no resistance to magical damage, so they'll just die. Werewolves have been consistently one of the most terribly designed things in most editions of D&D. They tend to have immunity to weapons, except for magical ones or whatever, that are so trivial to come by that you just don't even care. Or like any kind of spell damage always works full out on them, which also makes that not matter. And so it never actually matters that they're theoretically immune to weapons because their immunity is always bypassed effortlessly by early game stuff. And then compounding that little problem, they tend to have no interesting abilities basically. They just are generic melee dudes. And so, as I said, they've usually been one of the worst and most boringly designed creatures in most editions of D&D. Even in the ones I like 3rd edition, they kind of suck. Like force damage, they don't have any resistance to that whatsoever. Okay, who's even left alive in here? I guess like some bats or whatever. We'll just run in here and loot some stuff, go into a secret passageway. We could go up there to the attic. I do not want to do that. The place is huge but empty. and quite boring in my opinion. And then we'll go through the actual door and be good to leave this area and go down to Cazador's mega dungeon that is also empty. Anyway, down here is the elevator down to the enormous dungeon that somehow no one, including Astarion, knew existed.
Stand on a clean metal platform. A beautiful but antiquated elevator.
Probably need someone to repair that elevator once in a while.
Signs of things dragged onto it over the years.
Presumably that means that it was covered temporarily sometimes to hide it, but... Alright, so down we go to the Tourmaline Depths, I think they call it, because everything's kind of blue-green. There is a book there explaining that no one really knows how this place came to be or why it was hidden, which doesn't actually, in my opinion, resolve that question. But here we are. The ring opens up several more doors here. I don't really know what the point of that is, because we already have the ring to have gotten here.
It's like the door to the ballroom upstairs.
So we just put in the ring. Alright. Then over here I think we'll find the remains of Velioth, the vampire lord that Cazador was formerly enslaved by.
It's like the door to the ballroom upstairs. The ring's
Okay, so over here is the head of Velioth. I'm gonna keep things simple and not bring in my whole army of summons to clutter up the room, I think.
I have a lot on my mind.
This skull is all that remains of the vampire Velioth.
So we can read books here about kind of the history of various unimportant vampire lords succeeding one another in this area.
Taught him the rules of vampirism.
And we learned that Cazador got his rules from Velioth.
Velioth's first lesson is always to dominate. Allow none to be your equal. Velioth recalls when Cazador reached out to a former friend. His punishment was to watch as Velioth drained...
That shouldn't bother Cazador anyway, because, once you're a vampire, you are not your former self. You're an evil being instead, and are incapable, fundamentally, of goodness or even neutrality. But they're just all over the place about vampires throughout this game, and don't really match up to either their own or previous D&D lore.
Velioth's second lesson is that power comes from... Velioth recalls when Cazador...
So it should be literally impossible to do this. Under no circumstances whatsoever can an undead that was spawned by another one ever rebel or resist the one that created it. But somehow he was able to do that, and yet we're supposed to believe that Astarion had no free will to not do evil things, whatever, and it just...
A near immortal has time to plan, time to act. Velioth recalls Cazador, his lessons learned, killing him in the rite of perfect slaughter. How they both laughed. Velioth recalls Cazador boiling the flesh from his skull, and then, to mock him, clamping his...
So, apparently you are totally allowed to rebel against your vampire lord, disobey them, and even try to kill them or whatever. Nothing magical stops you from doing that, apparently.
The scroll...
But that does make Astarion morally responsible for his actions, whereas throughout the game they'll act so he had no choice. Anyway. Random treasures down here, no encounters, empty. There's like a dirt pile here that has a treasure in it, I think, and a trap. Can I click on it? Click on it. I'm sorry if it seems I'm being very negative about the game here. I love a lot of things about it, as I mentioned many times. I mean, I got to 100 level Melth approves of this game throughout it, several episodes back. But I do think they are completely inconsistent about whether or not various hive mind or mind-controlled beings have independence or not. Alright, so here is a weapon named for the god Pelor from another D&D setting. He's kind of the anti-undead sun god. You can use that to inflict radiant damage to deal with Cazador, because even if you had done nothing to prepare here, they want to make sure that you can easily beat the vampire lord guy. Which I'm not sure whether that's good design or not. I think that at this point in Act 3, it is perfectly reasonable to punish players who are paying no attention and not preparing at all. In Act 1, sure, provide them backup options if they don't know what to use against different creatures or whatever, but we've had a long time to learn about radiant damage and vampires being weak to it and so forth by this point. If we have not brought radiant damage at this point, we kind of deserve to have a hard time, rather than be given some at the last second. Alright, in here we'll find a whole bunch of vampires that Astarion somehow did not know about.
In the cells, you're met with hollow-eyed faces. There's an almost physical stink of...
All stinks are physical. The way smell works is that particles of whatever the thing is are in your nostrils. So if you smell something smelly, some of it is up your nose at the time.
I don't even
But this is a cool moment, I will say.
He hid.
The notion that he could hide this from the others is absurd, but... oh well.
If I had to guess,
There's no way he was cleaning and maintaining this place on his own.
that where in the hells do they come from?
You. I know you. You're the one from the tavern. You smiled.
So this is one of Astarion's first victims. And if apparently Astarion just believed that Cazador killed and did not turn any of them, why would you assume that? It doesn't even make sense to just have assumed that there was no possibility of him having made some more vampires spawn.
Your tongue.
Sebastian.
You remember me.
Plus, you know he has other undead around. Why would you assume he didn't turn them into the skeletons or whatever or something?
You'd never been kissed.
But it is a pretty good moment here.
And then you destroyed me.
It can't be.
Beneath the dirt and blood, you notice that every prisoner has a rune carved into their flesh.
Don't. Not now. I know so many of these faces. They're my...
That's what I just said.
I pursued them. Seduced them. And brought them to Cazador. He told us he was feeding on them, but he turned them to spawn. He turned every last one, so we'd have souls for this cursed ritual.
Which Astarion still wants to go through with, I might add.
How long have I been down here?
170 years. You were one of my first.
My family. My friends.
This is not the real Sebastian. This is a evil spirit of some kind puppeteering his corpse around. At least that's what most D&D lore would have it be.
Everything from me.
I don't know why we'll set him free in death is what we intend to do here. There is no way in hell we're loosing thousands of vampires. That would make no sense whatsoever.
I'll never be free while that monster lives.
That's why we're here. To destroy Cazador.
You can't. It's not possible. The Grand Chamber. Just ahead. But even if you can kill him, what then?
So Ballista sees through this. As far as I'm concerned, this is just a monster trying to gain undeserved sympathy.
I don't know. I just don't want to die down here. Please.
No, that's non-negotiable.
Just do it quickly. I can't go on waiting.
We'll be back. You have my word.
He'll immediately try to betray that trust, of course. Can we talk to the kid ones in there? So these are the Gur children, of course. Why aren't we... Talk!
Hey! Hey, you! Come closer.
Oh, God. It can't be.
It is you. I knew it. I'll kill you. Once I get out of here, I'll kill you! Camp. Monster hunters. The Gur camp.
We've been over this.
Chessa, focus. Resist the beast inside you.
I do like these vampire kid ones here. So I guess they show that at this early stage, at least, you can still be resisting your evil vampirism or whatever.
To us. Didn't he tell you? He's the one that kidnapped.
Yeah, we knew about that. This time, though, he kind of declaims responsibility and jokes about things.
I'll kill you!
Yes. Now that you, mention it, I may have done that. Don't look at me like that.
Oh, Cazador's orders, which now I guess you had to go through with.
Routine, of course. Capture, not lure. I didn't bring them in with sweet rolls or anything.
And that makes it so much better that you just violence them instead.
Felt nothing the moment I handed them over to him. Oh.
Parents.
I think we didn't really promise that because it was a dumb thing to promise. We knew it would be impossible.
I miss them. I think.
Smart kid, seemingly, to be able to tell the difference there. Assuming this isn't just some vampire trick pretending to be conflicted.
You should go. Leave us here.
Kind of like you should never, ever, ever trust mind flayers. You should never, ever, ever trust vampires. That's not to say you can never work with a mind flayer, but, like, deception is an intrinsic part of their being.
Tell them you couldn't find us.
Alright, what do you have to say for yourself, Astarion?
Gods above. He kept Sebastian.
Did you shrink, like, a foot in the last couple seconds here? Or is it I'm standing at something tall?
I should have known what Cazador was capable.
Yeah, this should have been obvious from when we read about his ritual, how many souls needed and things like that.
Fools. Not just 7 spawn to placate the devil. 7 spawn and 7,000 souls bound to them in blood. Everyone, whoever trusted me enough to let...
That reminds me, I think I might have misreading something about the ritual in Velios' room. I better go back and read that before we continue.
It doesn't matter.
So here we go, he's back to...
Sacrifice them all if I want to perform the ritual. What's the point?
No, they're worse than dead. And you'd want to give their souls to the devils to be either tortured for eternity or used to power evil machines or things like that. Absolutely unacceptable. But no one treats that as the kind of atrocity it would be. No one. I really am not fond of how after Act 1 your characters kind of all lose their moral compasses. Yeah, back in Act 1, if you did something evil, the good characters would point that out and they would even leave the party sometimes. But in Act 2 you can do things like slaughter everyone that last lay in with shadows and have them all turn into undead forever, and then say things like, haha, the shadows have devoured the living! And you get like -1 approval from your good characters, and that's about it. And no one really acknowledges the atrocity going on here if you sacrifice 7,000 souls to the devils and the hells.
It's just... sickening. Seeing them again.
But he will try to go through with the ritual despite all of that, and then if you try to deny him, he will, yell at you, leave the party, and slaughter them all, or break the staff so they can't die, or awful things no matter what you do, unless you succeed some checks to convince him not to be the worst thing in the universe. Well, in order to do the battle against Ascended Cazador, I think we will stop here, quick save, and then bring just Astarion down so we can get them all set up without killing half the enemies. Alright, in we go. We'll bring just Astarion and Ballista so we can more quickly hand over Astarion and end this little battle here. I do really like the arena here, by the way. This game has some really great boss fight arenas and fun bosses that are pretty well designed. I definitely enjoy that about it. Astarion, get in here. Okay.
Everything is clear.
There we go. Now we can walk up and he'll get captured.
Who stands before us?
I like his bat staff too, or maybe it's a devil staff.
Truly our prodigal son?
You know, throughout the game, whenever I heard Cazador's name as I was going through for the first time, I really picture someone who was less of like a prissy elf and more intimidating. I think also his name made me think of the Votratos song from Carmen. Cazador on guard. That kind of thing. But, anyway.
Every slip.
Silly ranting from Astarion here, and then he'll get predictably captured, because he never had a plan and has no idea what he's doing.
As imperfect as you.
Cazador really does show in this scene that contrary to what Astarion thinks, Cazador really just is much, much better at being a vampire than Astarion would ever be.
And fuck everything.
Astarion is kind of impulsive and stupid and has no plan.
The cattle low about
Even if Astarion became an ascended vampire, I doubt he would last even a year.
centuries in the making.
He just is incapable of planning more than a couple seconds ahead of time.
Now,
That's what you think, you son of a bitch.
you truly forgot my part.
Darned right, Cazador.
Truly thought our bond as creator.
So, if it wasn't for the other 7,000 or so souls on the line, Baldur really might hand over Astarion here and then just trash Cazador to show that it was all for nothing, and he never will be anything more than just a generic monster meant to be killed by 3 to 5 adventurers and their lovable pets. But there are 7,000 other souls on the line, so Baldur would not let that happen. This will be a non-canonical fun challenge battle here.
Really do something worthwhile. You will burn, and I will ascend.
Anyway, the great vampire lord and all of his werewolves and all of his bats are incapable of detecting invisible creatures. He didn't plan for that possibility in his centuries of planning here.
Witness the birth of the Vampire Ascendant!
That means, behold the Lord. He always talks in Latin, but I mentioned before, in this game they use Latin for way too many things. Sometimes Latin is infernal, sometimes it's the magic language. I don't know which it is here. We'll counterspell that, whatever. Which again undermines Astarion supposedly saying that Cazador didn't have any devilish abilities to his knowledge.
Centuries of toil, all building to this. The power is phenomenal. I feel so alive!
Alright, so he ascends and gets his full powers now. All the ritual's forces die and the combat finally ends. We're overburdened now with Astarion's stuff in a backpack. Let's just send that to camp and forget about it. Then we'll go up and group up and grab the rest of our party and swap up some items. Alright, so I brought in the group and here we are fighting against Cazador. Let's have a look at him. He's pretty formidable. Above all, and this is crucial, he has plus 10 initiative. That is genuinely pretty hard to beat. Now, my party can beat that consistently because we've built to be good at initiative, but more bosses in this game should have this level of initiative, if not more. Because without that, most bosses in this game get no turns at all against well-prepared parties. With this, he's beatable in initiative, but not easily, and that's probably the way things should be. Never forget, by the way, if your party's having trouble going first before boss, you can stack Elixirs of Vigilance with Alert to get like plus 10 right there, which is enough to beat pretty much anything once you add in Dexterity and so forth. Didn't need to do that here, but just bear that in mind. Anyway, he then has actually good saving throws, unlike Raphael, backed up by legendary resistance with basically infinite charges if he's ascended. I think it says 3 there, but I believe it's unlimited once he's ascended. He has this perk, so if you attack him, he will heal 100 hit points per round, so don't even bother unless you plan to actually kill him like that turn or at most in 2 turns, I would say. And this legendary action does pretty hardcore amounts of damage, given that it makes you weak to piercing too. So you'll die rapidly to that if you allow yourself to be hit by it at all. And then he also has powerful spells that do bonus damage of 70-10 necrotic in an AoE, and he has extra attack like a fighter too, so overall, pretty good defenses, immune to many effects with virtue of being undead, good saving throws, good initiative. This is a real boss, with a cool arena and lots of henchmen too. I love this fight. Predator werewolves are generic bruisers, but that's fine when they're not the main draw of the fight. You know, they have a role in Cazador's party here. Chatterteeth there is a mage, he can cast a few spells. These just disable you with their ghoul stink and their paralyzing claws and so forth. It's a pretty good fight, I think, overall. So, let's maybe throw out a bless here. I could have pre-buffed, but to try to have maximum challenge, I chose not to do so. How far down the stairs can you jump without taking a pile of damage? You're pretty far behind is the thing that I'm seeing. Jump. Okay. We want to put down a haste spore grenade here. And get into the haste yourself, I would say. Okay. So, Karlach. We need to get you pretty deep in there. What is your range to Cazador? Okay, that's not bad. So, what we'll do now though is shoot off an arrow at many targets, thereby powering up your spell save DC due to the Hat of Arcane Acuity. Yeah, sure, we'll Thunderstrike you. That part doesn't really matter. Now, I said he's immune to many, many effects, but not all of them. We've got a plan to deal with him. I think I can probably knock 2 of these werewolves off of cliffs if I position myself well here. So let's make sure we have Repelling Blast on, and then find that sweet spot. Over the cliff you go. Hi-ho, hi-ho, it's off the cliff you go. Can we knock you back too? Not off the cliff, but... Those don't count as kills for Bloodlust, so we need to get an actual kill, but still, pretty good stuff. I'm trying to get closer so that I can help out with Cutting Word. Oh, I've used up my Cutting Word, so I can't help out against Cazador. That's fine. So who do I want to target? Perhaps I'll just kill 1 bat, guaranteed, knock that werewolf back, and knock that one off a cliff. I say guaranteed, I really mean 95%, which is usually good enough. Okay. We have really thinned out the herd of predator werewolves over there, I think. Now let's have Karlach go in. So her spell save DC is now very, very high indeed. She's got a lot of spell save DC boosting gear, and now we will get out a spell that works on undead that people just kind of sleep on. This spell is really, really good when you need it, which is against certain undead bosses. Eye Bite. The game's description of it is endlessly recursive and unhelpful, but what it does is inflict either Panicked, which is a just ruinous status, or Sleep, which is arguably even worse, and you also have this option here, which is unimportant. And these things work even on creatures that have no business falling for these things. Cazador is an elf undead. He should be immune to sleep on multiple levels, but it still works on him. It works on all kinds of things it shouldn't work on. We'll do Panicked on him though instead. It's going to be funnier. So we had like no chance to resist that at all. Then we'll just kind of back up a bit here, I guess.
Do I go from here?
Alright. Well, you can still blast people off of cliffs, I guess. We'll probably save Cazador until we're ready to really go hardcore against him. So, let's throw out a hex on maybe Chatterteeth. And then can we knock that werewolf off a cliff? Yes, we can. Okay, not bad damage there. And we'll retreat to relative safety next. Alright, Water Myrmidon, get in those haste spores. Alright, so we've dealt with most of the creatures here, but there are still Cazador and his ghouls, and also Chatterteeth over there. So we'll do this. We don't really care about damaging Cazador. He'll heal this back up if he gets hit at all, which he didn't. We could thin out the herd of bats, perhaps. Nah, we've used up our effective for that job action, so we'll just teleport and poke this guy. Heimel Strike.
I won't give in.
Okay. So you have got your spells. I don't really see much value here for the usual aura of murder that we would tend to be throwing out. We could cheaply launch just like a fireball over there, or something like that. We do have like 16 scrolls of chain lightning, so maybe I'll just have her do that. She's not the best chain lightning user, but she's adequate for this job. Okay, that one survived. Can we finish it with that? That's iffy. We do have other people who can help finish it though, so that'll be fine either way. Are you an aura of murder? No, you're in Sacred Defiance aura. Are you in... There we go. Yeah, we'll fire it off like that. You can't legendary action because, you know, you have been made afraid, but this will be fine. We'll wait near the haste spores for next turn. Alright, you get into the haste spores and let's get in there and start pulverizing some ghouls. You're not the one with bloodlust, so you can't get any more attacks out of this, so we'll just kind of, you know, we'll just dash it to where it could be useful in the future turn, I think. Alright, you fly on in there. And maybe you can thin out the herd of bats. Because those will die pretty readily to Ice Blast and things like that. Can you target and take out Chatterteeth while you're at it? Maybe. Now, it needs to be a little closer. Okay, that's fine. Good chance to kill a lot of bats. We'll double attack it. Okay. Well, I'll give you a Heimel Strike. I don't foresee much use for the birds here. You know what else is good against the bats? This guy is, because even if they make saving throws, they still take half damage. So we'll have him perhaps finish off the other two after he's dealt with this ghast. Alright, so poke, even if they save, this will take 1 damage and die. Bats are down. Next up, we've got to deal with Chatterteeth, who's been pretty lucky so far. Alright, his luck's run out. Then we'll just start shooting down bats, I guess. Okay. Now we'll just mass end our turn and then take out Cazador at the start of next turn.
The only way out is through.
Okay. Get yourself some haste, why don't you? And then Cazador is still going to be panicked. He's also dazed now too, making him easier to hit. Should have gotten him into light for radiant damage.
Fuck yes.
Wait, why is it not your... Oh, you accidentally entered your turn. Okay. Got her too far from the haste, but that's fine. You can teleport back into it. And then that should give you plenty of speed to fly on back and have some fun. With you being dazed and you being double blessed or whatever, we should have a decent chance to hit him like so. And then we can fly over and poke him.
I'm heating up. Let me strike.
I guess we could blast him with like a disintegrate or whatever. Do we have enough of those that it could be reasonable to just splurge on one here? 5? I don't know. That's kind of at the threshold where I'm not sure whether it's reasonable to just spend it here. I could just be greedy and just not spend it. I mean, what's he gonna do? Maybe just poke him with Sacred Flame. Just be cheap. Wow, he actually made a saving throw. Okay.
Nothing important is ever easy.
Onward.
Alright, he gets his 100 hit points healed. He's fearful, so he runs and provokes attacks from, like, everyone. Oh, he got out of combat with half of them. Huh. Well, we'll just pursue him over here and just pummel him at the edge of this cliff. How about that? He, like his werewolves, is immune to non-magical bludgeoning damage, which, like, that doesn't exist anymore, really. I could bring in a gajillion skeletons to shoot him. I'm going to just skip turns instead, I think. Oh, some bats, cute. That only makes me stronger, though, because I can use those for bloodlust. So, turn off Repelling Blast so we don't get a kill on him that way. You're already hexed. Bam, bam, bam. Alright, he went back to his coffin over there. So now we have all of our guys are free to act, and we can just slaughter the few many bats at will. So, there you have it. Alright, episode 100, Battling Ascended Cazador. We'll pick up next time with episode 101, doing things here the normal way where we try to actually keep Astarion alive and stop Cazador from ascending. It's a pretty cool fight that way too, with some fun ways to interact with the ritual while it's ongoing. Thank you for watching, everyone, and a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. The Irreverent Reverend, Master Knight DH, Jackie and Lino, Travis, Andrew Curzon, Trubsy, Oliver, Cronish, Jago, David Kovjanov, Gregory, Broken Box, Jenna M, Just Becca, Jack, Nubiana, Nicholas Schmuck, Kostya Nesterovich, Frederick Brune, Emperor Kong 420, Robin, Stefan Von Zill, Eddie, Mina, Ali Kasimoglu, Skylar Sauce, Nick Myers, Emp Ninjas, Chupaton, Diabetic Cat, Marvin Fang, Max, Afro Zamurai, Lodestone, Bic Mars, Brad, IJ23, Rodrigo Lopez Dato, The Coding Owl, Silent, Eldridge, Zadira, Wisconsin Cheese Wizard, Peanut Butter 89, and Nicholas Halden. Have a great day, everyone.